before we discuss more about a DAO and how can it can be a great tool for DevRel as you are actually using it, would you like to tell folks about what a DAO actually is?
Oh man, so I would probably not the best person in the world to, I mean, to
Mm-hmm.
to really speak a lot to this. I mean, I obviously know what DAOs are. I mean, what a DAO is meant to be is a decentralized autonomous organization to where like the whatever that community is involved in, um, and everybody can have a vote in like the way that thing processes. So like as an example, like a DAO can have a treasury, and then in order to make actions on that treasury that should eventually, like they aren't fully there right now, like everybody vote, like says a proposal comes up and says, hey, we want to do this. People vote, and like once that vote reaches a certain like threshold, like that is supposed to trigger an on-chain action. A lot of
Right.
DAOs aren't really fully mature. This is kind of happening manually. They're like, okay, we see what
Mm-hmm.
you said.
Right.
We're gonna like manually do that thing with these sort of funds, but there's a million things. Like you could have a DAO, like Realms, Realms.today, I believe is still what we are. Hold on one second. Realms.today, you can actually go just spin up a DAO, like
Mm-hmm.
right now on Solana, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of uses. You could have a fantasy football team,
Right.
and that can be a DAO. DAOs can be used for so many things where everybody in this specific DAO or community has a say in which direction that organization is going to go, and that's I think at the heart of it. But there's so many use
Right.
cases outside of that.
Right, exactly. So, like, for anybody who is looking for a very simple definition over there, DAO is as simple as like running an organization on a smart contract, as simple as that.
There you go.
And yeah, like maybe a company, maybe a community, maybe anything you like in which a lot of people can come together and do something that can be actually regulated and automated using a DAO in some senses. But actually, what I wanted to talk about here is DAOs as a way of growing your community. In what Solana is doing very good right now is like incentivizing people about different things about your community programs in general. So, what are the different things you do through DAOs, and how do you do that?
So personally, just because of my role, I'm not really super actively involved in my own DAOs, but like I do follow along. Like Super Team DAO has done a really incredible job of putting together this group, and like not only do they put together this group of like just
Mm-hmm.
advocates for Solana, they are also out there like creating things like the talent network and setting up bounties to make sure that this DAO has an incentive to like to be around there and be doing this sort of work. So like they're like making this massive, amazing community so that like you contribute to it. Like you can basically you give value and you take value equally. Everybody
Right.
can kind of give and take as they go, and like this is kind of the thing is DAOs are really should be of this place where everybody's contributing, but everybody's
Mm-hmm.
also getting rewarded at the same time, and like it should happen evenly across the whole entire like the system. I don't think DAOs are that efficient quite yet, but NFTs took a major boom, or they had
Mm-hmm.
their major boom. Like I think gaming and DAOs are going to be some of the next, but also DAOs will probably be involved. Like the guilds from the old games can now be DAOs, where you're not a bunch of
Right.
people arguing. You can speak your mind with your vote. You have a say in the way that something
Mm-hmm.
happens. So.
Do you think DAOs can actually replace the traditional way of different how communities work? Maybe how like a Solana community works in general. You can actually convert that into a DAO. Do you envision this happening down the lane?
I do. I think that it's inevitable that once the tooling is matured and the ease of use has matured, and like somebody can just pop on, spin up a DAO, easily understand what it can be used for. I think it's as with almost everything, education is key here. Like you have to be
Right.
educated. Like everybody uses DAO this, DAO that, and there a lot of them people were using it before they even knew what DAO meant, like in general. So
Mm-hmm.
like it's just the process of learning. It's just like regular crypto. It's just like NFTs. It takes people a while to kind of digest and absorb what the possibilities are in the future.
Right. Perfect. So let's talk about the incentivization in DAOs. So a lot of DAOs right now, how they work is like they incentivize some monetary grants out there for doing a particular task, right? But for a smaller starter, smaller company, it's not something they can afford. And definitely in the Web2 world, it's much more different in the way you reward the community as well. How do you see a DAO fitting here? How do you see actually a DAO like solving this incentivization problem over here?
Yeah, I think one of the issues that we've seen a lot in these DAOs, especially in DeFi, is that people want to be incentivized. So proposals come up, and very few people are voting on these proposals. Like the incentive mechanism there is that if you give your vote to on a proposal, you're voting for something that's going to like positively impact you. So that's supposed to be the incentive. I think the issue in DeFi and maybe I'm completely wrong here, is that people almost want like an immediate like incentive back. But like on DeFi and some of these other sorts of verticals in the crypto space, that might and that reward might be a very long tail one, because the proposal is like, let's do this really big thing and it's going to help down the road. But people kind of want like, I want to get rewarded for participating here. Like, but there could be a reward, like if you get rewarded for simply voting a certain amount of times on things, because in order for a DAO to work, you have to have community participation. Otherwise, like, what do you even have?
Exactly. Makes sense. Definitely makes sense.